Hello, everyone. How's it going? George, Victoria, Laura. Hello. All right, this is our very last class for our Back to Basics month. I've seen a lot of you guys over and over again, so hopefully you were able to attend all of those. And if you haven't, all of the videos are on YouTube and then also on our website as well, if you want to go back. So today we are going to try to combine everything that we've been working on and learning over the last 2 months into one illustration. So I'm going to do an illustration from beginning to end, trying to look at everything we've been learning from form and space and value and all that stuff. And then I'm doing kind of a redraw. So I have this old illustration that I did a while ago. So I'm going to redo this same creature and try to reuse some of the stuff that we've been working on. I did a couple of these tiny little thumbnail sketches thinking about what I want to change. This one I think was more based off of the camel, and I wanted to go more kangaroo with this. This was supposed to be the Jersey Devil, for any of you who know your cryptids. It's an old cryptid. But I wanted to like extend the wings and stuff like that. So these are based off of kangaroos, and then I added some things and changed some things. So this is what I'm going to be working on for my sketch, but you guys pick whatever you're into for yours. So it could be like a fantasy creature like mine, or if you want to work off of a photograph and do a more realistic animal, you can do that too. You know, this is kind of up to you, but we want to be thinking about everything we learned from the last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. It's more of a studio class today. And then I'm going to start out really loose. And I'm just trying to figure out what kind of pose I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to fit everything that I need to fit into this thing. I like the one where its back was really hunched over like that. So I'm going to do something like that. I always try to start out light. I'm using the side of my pencil. What are some of the drawings you guys are going to do? Let me know in the chat what you guys went with. Is it going too thick? I want enough room for these wings. The first one I did, I don't know why I made the wings so small. I want this to actually feel like the wings could support this weird creature. Let's get the tail. I don't know what the tail's going to do. Something like this. Have this hand more on the ground. So there's my really, really loose, sketchy. Let's lower the head. Try to make all my big changes when we're still at this loose stage, because then I don't have to erase so much. I didn't put a whole lot of work into this yet, so I can change things and it's no big deal.
Here says he's working on a partially humanoid sea creature. except it
Nice.
dwells in cave ponds and rivers, and it's kind of like a merperson, except it's more eel-like than fish-like.
Ooh, that's cool. Have you guys heard of Mermaid, where you draw different mermaids throughout the month of May? Yeah. It's fun to do like a month of this and a month of that because after the first couple of days, you exhaust, whatever the normal thing for that subject is. So, you might do a couple more traditional mermaids for the first couple of days, but then after that, you have to think of something else. You have to keep it going through all, 30 days of the month. So you might get into more like eel-ish mermaids. All right, I need to decide what to do with this back leg here before I get going too far. I think I had it over here on my thumbnail sketch. Thumbnail sketches are super helpful when you draw really small versions. You can kind of figure out what works and what isn't going to work on a small scale. And then remembering environment, I want to have some indication that there's a background. And I haven't quite figured out what all I'm going to do yet. I just want to remind myself I'm going to put some trees and stuff back here. Maybe he's on. So I'm being really messy. I'm just reminding myself there's going to be, trees, whatever. Trees, yay. So I'm going to be drawing and erasing and drawing and erasing a lot throughout this. I'm thinking of this in stages. Now that I got the general placement of everything down, I want to flesh it out more, give it more detail to the sketch. And then hopefully I'll get to the point where I can color it in. So you get a full color and full detail onto this drawing. Take my time on the eyes. Zoom in a little bit because I'm doing these really tiny lines. Spend a lot of time on the eyes. So I want them to be the same. The Jersey Devil, I think, is amusing because it's usually it's described as being bipedal. So it's on two legs like a kangaroo. And then it'll have like, other than like bat wings or something like that, it's not made out of things that are traditionally very scary. Like I don't think of kangaroos as being terribly the stuff of nightmares. It's like a kangaroo combined with a goat. And these twisty horns that I got, there's actually a goat at the LA Zoo with horns like that. I forget what type of goat that goat was, but I basically just stole that element the first time I did this drawing, so I'm going to repeat that here because I thought it was cool. Sometimes we just add things because they're cool. Yeah, I think kangaroos really can mess you up because they're very strong, that kick. It's just when I think of animals that are like monstrous and scary, you know, I don't really think of kangaroos. Okay, so I heard what Tater Tot was doing. What are the rest of you guys doing for your drawings? You're still deciding? That's okay. Oh, is that what it's called, Scott? Scott says it's called a markhor for the twisty horns.
Yes, and I didn't know that. I had to look that up.
Have that in your back pocket.
No.
Yeah, there's some weird animals at the
I'd like to show a rough drawing.
Oh, sure.
So if you see my character right here.
I don't see your camera. You need to turn your camera on. There you are.
I have a kangaroo character, and I thought since you were making a kangaroo character, I would just copy that, but replace it with my character.
Nice, yeah, because your kangaroo already had kind of a kangaroo-esque body, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, originally, yeah. I love that it's in your very Looney Tunes style. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody has their own kind of way. So even if you're drawing the same thing, it's still going to turn out a little bit different. Yeah, Mothman. Is anybody else really into cryptids? Yes, yeah. I think they're fun, even if a lot of them are probably not real. Mothman's story is fun. Probably was an owl. People have done breakdowns of the creatures that are in that area. For those of you who don't know, Mothman was spotted on the road, I think in like the 60s. These people were driving and then something like flew at their car on the road. And then they described it later as being this like bipedal tall thing with like glowing eyes. And they figured out it was probably an owl that got misidentified because it was really dark out. And that happens sometimes. I think they definitely saw something. But, you know, people get their imaginations going wild, you know, so there's all these sightings. And the town that he was first spotted in has this like whole fun culture around Mothman. It's kind of fun. It's like folklore. Yeah, New Mexico has a lot of cryptids. Yeah, any place where there's not a lot of people that's built up will tend to have a lot of cryptid stories or UFO stories. They're things that we don't know what it was. Scott, do you want to explain what yours was, the okapi?
So, yeah, I guess the okapi was, once just a cryptid. They weren't sure. And I think it was like maybe 110 years ago or 100 years ago or something. It was like discovered to be real.
Cool. What was it like? What did it look like?
Let me turn off my background because I actually have.
Like a description.
It kind of looks like a zebra. So I have a little toy here.
Oh yeah.
Where it has like the zebra stripes in the back, and then it has a like a giraffe purple tongue. They actually have some okapis in San Diego at the zoo,
Yeah.
or at the wild animal park.
I'm trying to think of where I've seen those. I've probably seen those at a zoo, but I don't remember which one. I can't wait for the world to get back to normal. I can start going to zoos again.
A few years ago, I actually bought an old newspaper. I don't remember the date. I'll have to dig it out, but it had an article about the discovery of the okapi.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to find that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just hope when we discover aliens are real, they're friendly.
Right. All right, I'm gonna erase this all out because the wings are gonna cover that. I'm gonna put in some ridges here. I want this one to match. Trying to get this wing to look like it actually connects into his body here. So I'm starting it lower. Maybe curve it around that way like I didn't, then the one I did in the past. It's cool to hang on to your drawings that you did, however many years ago, just to see how far you've come, because it can be hard to tell sometimes. Because when you're learning to draw, you're actually learning to see things. So the better you get at drawing, the more you draw and the more practice you get, the more you're actually seeing, the more you're noticing. So if you go back and look at drawings that you did, last year or even the year before, it's a good habit to get into. You can kind of see how far you've come. I'm gonna make one of these. It's supposed to have claws. Let's make it kind of wavy. The thing about drawing cryptids or designing cryptids, though, is there's always an infinite amount of, like, people will describe them differently, but they'll say it's the same cryptid sometimes. I think the Loch Ness Monster was one where it was described in like 4 or 5 different ways. definitely want this tree to be here. I'm going to try to sketch out the environment along with the sketch of the creature, so I don't leave it for last and ignore it. Does anybody have a favorite alien design or alien concept from a movie or something they saw?
It's probably gotta be Mars Attacks. I know that movie kind of stinks, but I really love the designs. I even drew a picture of it.
Do you like the designs? Yeah, you can like the designs even if overall the movie was not your bag. I like when people do less human-y aliens and they're more like, some people will do octopuses. You know, the aliens will be based more around octopi, because they are really smart, you know, cephalopods and octopus. They just have a way, like the way that their brain works is a lot different from humans. So it's fun to do smart aliens, but they're based off of a completely different type of creature than a human. All right, I think I want some greenery, shrubberies around here. Here, I need to pull this back even further on the camera. It kind of fades out maybe. I wanted to have that like spiked devil tail. I'm trying to think of a different way to do it. So maybe they're like spines or something that make that pointy shape. You can do that. Yeah, Star Wars has a lot of fun aliens. A lot of fun alien designs. So I'm remembering my atmospheric perspective. I'm gonna have a lot of trees and stuff back here. I want this to look like a very wooded area. But to make sure they look like they're pushing back behind my creature here in front, they're gonna be a lot lighter and lighter. So I'm not gonna push down very hard here on this sketch. There you go. Maybe like a rock. Okay. So we are about halfway through, so we're in good shape for this one. Sometimes it'll take me a lot longer to sketch things out. Doing these little tiny ones beforehand, even if it seems like you're doing more work, it actually speeds up the process because I already knew I basically want this pose. And I'd already kind of drawn it a couple times, so I was more familiar. And so then when you go to do your final version, it's a little bit easier. So I have my kneaded eraser here. I'm going to go over the whole thing and take off the top layer of pencil lead, of graphite. So I can still see my drawing. It's just a lot lighter. And then I'm going to use colored pencils on top of it because I want to make sure I color this dude in. There we go. Usually, you could also do a color test, you know, so just like the thumbnails, you would do a smaller version of your character and then try a couple different color schemes to see what you like. I didn't do that with this one though, and so I'm not quite sure what colors I want for this thing. I know we're probably going to want some neutral colors, so either browns or grays, but I have not decided yet. Need to come up with something. I have another sheet of paper. I'm just going to test out some colors and see if I can get some combinations. I pulled out a bunch of grays out of my giant box of colored pencils. I think this is some neutral colors. I want my animal to be a lot darker than the rest of the drawing. Maybe I have red eyes. I'm gonna dig through, look for my neutral colors. Those two work better together than the other ones. So I want some colors that will blend. Blending is very important. I'm not sure. Will this one kind of go? Not really. I need a good lighter brown. A little better. This one will just be really light. So right here, I'm just doing a block-in layer. So I'm being really light. I think we'll go lighter and lighter as we wrap around this thing's body. I'm just trying to get the basic colors. And then if you guys remember from the week where we did form, when I do my strokes, I don't want to color flat like this. For this part where it's like going around this limb, I want to feel the roundness of that limb. So my strokes are actually going to go around the direction that the arm is turning. Block it in here. I'm trying to do this fast, so I block in all the major color groups. Pretty quickly. So then I have time to go through and put in my values, all my shading. So I have to do that with a colored pencil. I actually haven't done this method in a while. Usually I'll either draw digitally or scan it after I've erased it a little bit and then print it out and ink it. I haven't gone straight to color in a while, so we'll see how this turns out. Don't lose that line. Nope. How's everybody else doing? Does anybody want to share where they're at so far?
I'd like to show.
Awesome.
So I just traced over the sketch so I can draw the final version.
Oh, nice. That is wild. That's crazy. I love your shading on it too.
Thank you.
That's awesome. There's
There's Kat.
Kat. Hello, Kat.
I just wanted to draw dragons, so I decided to draw dragons, except this is not going so well.
No worries. It looks like you got a good start on the head and the spine.
Yeah.
Did you
I
look up?
decided maybe to do the spine. I was trying to draw dragons from Wings of Fire. This is a book about series about dragons.
Yeah, I really like the second one, the lower one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like the start for that one. Did you look up a reference photo?
Yes, I looked up
Yeah.
several.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah, I just need to get in the rest of the body, so like the rib cage area and then the limbs. I usually do, if you saw when I started this one, I just did those as lines or basic shapes, because then you can erase it and move it around and not a big deal.
Another share.
Did anybody want to go next? Yeah.
I just like doing tiny sketches every now and then. This just represents that more people
The shop.
waste their life.
Oh yeah. Oh. Oh, the dark sad eyes. That's awesome. Did we have anybody waiting to go next?
Liliana and Heather Rose.
Oh, nice. There's a couple different things going on there. That's awesome. I like the squiggly horns at the top. Nice. So what's this a combination of? The kangaroo bunny. Yeah. I'm seeing kangaroo, bunny, and then like a mermaid tail or a fish tail. That is wild. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the combination animals. Let's start getting some shading here. So this leg is back, so it's gonna be pretty dark. So I'm gonna start there. Sorry if my camera's been freezing up. It did that to me all day yesterday. It was very sad. Let's make this feel more like fur. Get some texture in there. All right, I should do the wings before I go any further. When I color, I always have a stack of papers underneath the one that I'm coloring on. And that kind of blends out the strokes of the pencil. So if I'm coloring on a table or something like that that has a lot of texture to it, if I have a stack of papers in between the paper I'm coloring on and the table, the stack of papers will kind of block the paper from picking up that texture. So even though my desk doesn't really have a texture to it, it's glass. It's just a habit I got into. Now I know the wings are going to create a cast shadow on the body of my creature here, so I'm just going to sketch out what I think that shape is going to look like. Let's make it more pointy. I try to do the big cast shadows first while I'm shading. And then later I'll go back in and then blend it in. It's really dark right now because I haven't finished shading the rest of it. And then this thing back here. Even though the wings are more flat than the body around here, I still want to have some areas of darker shadow than other areas. And then I've just got to build up and build up. Kind of cross-hatching over and over. Pull back a little bit. I'm just going to block the eyes in red for right now. Where did I throw that lighter tan? That kind of works. There it is. So if you remember back to the week we did on colors, animals usually have what's called counter shading. So their bellies and the area underneath will be a lighter color. It's always a hard balance when you're doing like weird creatures. It's like, what can I add that'll make it, you know, fun and weird, but then also still, I don't want it to be too implausible either. Some dark patches. Sometimes if I have an area with a darker color and a lighter color and they need to blend together, I'll just use the lighter color to help with the blending. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes left. Scott, can I have you put up the link for donations before I forget
Sure.
in the chat? Thank you. Yeah, because I know I'll forget. As always, if you guys can donate, please do so. We want to keep these lessons free for everyone. Only donation based. So this is it for our month on Back to Basics. Next month, we are going to go back to classes on comics, and it's not up online yet, but it should be pretty soon. So we're going to do a whole month of free classes on comics. The last time we did one, the last week, I think, was a paid one. So we want the whole thing to just be donation based. So we're really excited about doing that. Let's get some fuzzies over here. Then where is my dark gray? I don't know about you guys, but whenever I color, I just make a huge mess of my coloring materials. They're all over the place. Let's get these claws. All right, does anybody else want to share their progress? I want to give you guys plenty of time to do that before we run out, as I furiously try to color this thing really fast.
Kat would like to share.
Excellent. How are those
Um,
dragons?
so this is what I have so far on this one. I ended up deciding just to copy the book cover exactly and then later draw my own pose, and maybe I'll draw other book covers just to get practice drawing dragons in this style.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
that's a great idea.
Yay.
Yeah, that's everyone's.
Yeah.
I love the structure that you gave to those wings, even though like I know they're not done yet. They look awesome.
Uh-huh.
How they're like sprayed out and like the bones are like bat wing bones.
Uh-huh.
That's really good.
Thank you.
That is excellent. Did anybody else want to go next?
Tater.
Tater.
It's pretty rough and I'm not super happy with it, but yeah, I got this.
Ooh. It has a, like a, it's like a spooky feeling, the black and white. That's awesome though. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
underwater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the depths of the ocean kind of feeling. That is awesome.
I'd
Do you
like
have-
to hear.
Oh, yes, excellent.
So,
Nice. That is so crazy. That is awesome. Yeah, I love how dark you get your darks. Makes it feel really solid. All right, do we have anybody waiting to go next? I know I'm not gonna get even close to finishing mine. I was hoping I would get at least a little bit close, but I haven't even touched the background yet. There's still a lot I wanted to do. I like how warm this brown is compared to the other browns that I put on. So I'm just going to do like a layer of that. Will help blend out these dark areas. Pull back. I wanted to get some green in here for the background, but that may have to wait for later. Oh no, don't say that. 5 minutes. Has anyone tried to do a speed painting before? Where you're timed? You guys are okay going over time? Okay. Yeah, if you ever want to practice painting by doing a speed painting where you only give yourself a specific amount of time, you have to make very clear choices. And then you have to paint with really broad strokes, you know? So like what I was doing, getting down a very quick layer of color as opposed to being very detailed. So you learn to paint faster, but it actually helps you make better decisions or like stick to your decisions a little bit more. So do these claws. Because coloring and painting is, I follow, it's very similar process just to drawing in general. You start out with the broad strokes, the broad layers, and then you get more and more detailed as you go on. So I started with a light kind of brown layer, and I'm just going to build up and build up as I go along. All right, where's a dark green? I'm going to speed paint the background just so I get some contrast in here. Let's have a blue. So I want to contrast with my very neutral, dark creature up here. The background's going to be a lot lighter. In fact, let's get this light gray. I'm just going to throw in very light gray. Sorry if my camera's going in and out. It's telling me my internet connection is bad. All right, last call if anybody wants to share. I know it's after 3:30, but I'm like, I'm not done yet. I want to keep going.
Jay would like to share.
Excellent.
Okay, so let me just turn off the background. I'm obviously very far from done, but yeah.
No worries. Jackalope.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hello, jackalopes. That's awesome, you guys. I love all the fantasy characters.
Thank you.
Here's Kat.
I thought I'd share, I guess, what I have so far here.
Yeah, you're making progress on that dragon.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
I stopped for a couple minutes because when looking for references, I found a really bad picture and I had to send it to a couple friends because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
it was so bad it was funny.
It was so bad it had to be shared.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Kat.
Thank you.
Here's Tater.
Just a quick doodle of one of my characters, Callista.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you.
Equine character
Ish.
ish. Okay.
Bear, deer, dog person.
Right, that was fast. It's like the speed sketch for that one. All right. How are you doing, Scott? A couple more minutes, or do you got to go?
Oh, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay.
I'm
I
fine.
don't want to hold you up if you have.
I don't mind staying.
Gotta be some
Don't
more.
mind at all.
I know people are like, "Can we stay more?" If you have to leave, that's fine as well. I wanted to get this whole thing blocked in, but that is not happening. I should have probably erased out this tree a little better, but I did not. I don't want to block. This tree is going to be in front of this guy. So as dark as this creature is, the tree is going to be darker overall. I'm using similar colors because I'm thinking it might want to blend in with these trees. Hopefully you guys can see the strokes that I'm doing. Does anybody have any movie recs or TV recs recommendations that they saw that was cool? You think about that?
We're watching all the Marvel movies in chronological order for the first time.
Oh, really? Okay.
And we're up to, we just finished Spider-Man Homecoming a few days ago. That was pretty good.
Are you doing like one a day or just whatever you have time for?
Just whenever.
Yeah. There's a lot of Marvel movies that I've seen all of them, but there are a lot of them that I saw when it came out in theater and I haven't seen it since.
So not in chronological order then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're doing it chronological as in the universe chronological?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Storyline order.
Storyline wise. Okay. What would be
Anyways,
the first one then?
what was that?
Was Captain Marvel be the first one, or I'm trying to think what would the first one be?
No, I think it was Captain America,
Captain America, that's right. Okay.
and then Captain Marvel was one of the first ones.
Yeah, I was thinking that was one of the more recent ones, but if you're doing it that way, then that's one of the first ones. That's kind of cool. I've heard of people watching Star Wars that way, where they start with the prequels and then work their way forward.
But doesn't that ruin certain
Right.
story
Like, I don't know
elements
if I
from
can
the
do
original
that.
trilogy? Like nothing's a surprise in the original trilogy now.
Yeah.
Tater's rewatching The Hunchback of Notre Dame because of the
Okay, yeah, the Disney one. Yeah. Yeah, the music in that one is amazing. Does anybody have a favorite animated movie? Could be a Disney movie, could be a non-Disney movie. Yeah, I saw a talk with the lady who did, she was the character animation director for Frollo. And in the beginning of the movie, Frollo has this hat with a piece of fabric on the end of it that kind of flows behind him and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, we did one scene with that and then went, nope, he's going to set it on the table and not wear it again for the rest of the film because we're not animating that anymore. Oh yeah, Spider-Verse is one of my favorite movies probably ever, like not just animated. It was such a cool movie. And the way they blended styles together was really effective. Like the B movie, Nathaniel. No shame. No shame here. That was that's a weird movie in terms of its story. Like it just goes and you're not really sure where it's going, and then it'll go in a completely different direction. You're like, oh, okay, I guess the movie's about this now.
I'm unmuting because I don't want to type all of this. I hope that's okay. The B movie was energetic, and I kind of like My Little Pony the movie just because I like My Little Pony. I'm weird. Also, yes, Spider-Verse was really good.
Yeah.
Also, Up was good too.
Up was good too, yeah. Those first, like, was it 10 minutes? Makes everybody cry. Effective montage. And some more trees back here. Oh, you watched Klaus, Scott? That movie's excellent. Yeah.
That was an awesome movie.
Yeah, if you guys have Netflix, I know it's not Christmas time anymore, but look up Klaus. It is a Christmas movie, but it is a great movie.
You recommended it, and you were talking about the animation style.
Mm-hmm.
How it's 2D animation, but it looks 3D.
Yeah, so Klaus is hand-drawn. All the character animation is hand-drawn. And the innovation that they came up with a way to light the characters. So like if they're walking, I'm drawing a bunch of trees here. If they're walking through trees and there's a bunch of light pockets coming through the trees and stuff like that, you can see the shadows reflected on the characters, you know, as they walk through that environment. So the lighting through the whole movie is very dynamic, which is different than how most hand-drawn animated movies look, because that's from a tradition where you had to paint, you know, you had to hand paint each cell individually. They figured out how to add layers of light onto the characters. So it really beefs up the animation style, and then they're able to tell the story with lighting as well as with, you know, character and dialogue and the things that are normally in those movies. So that is definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an animation fan.
Yeah. Klaus was digitally animated, not hand drawn.
So it was hand drawn, even if they draw it on a computer. I mean, I still think it counts as hand drawn. You know, it doesn't make any difference if it's on a tablet or on a piece of paper. You know, they didn't shoot it on pieces of paper.
The characters weren't like the characters weren't 3D modeled. That's what you're saying, right?
They were drawn. Yeah, they were drawn by hand. Yeah.
Something else that you recommended to me actually a few years ago, which I can recommend to anyone, it's awesome, is Over the Garden Wall. It's one of my all-time favorite animated shows.
Yeah, I love getting you hooked on all these different animations, Scott.
Yeah, Over the Garden Wall, recommend that to everyone. It's just, it's so good, characters and story.
Yeah, that one's a mini series, so it's 10 episodes, but they're short. They're like 11 minutes long. So it's basically the length of a movie if you watch it all at once. Trying to get some green in this background here. All right, I still don't quite have everything blocked in, but it's almost done on the blocking in part. Do I have a dark gray? let's just continue through this area. All the way to the edge. Always takes the most time on the darker areas to get them nice and dark. Add some branches around here. All right, and I've neglected this side. How's everybody else doing? Is anybody all the way done? You're far from done. Yeah. I know, I feel like I'm far from done too. But I have the general gist in, so that's important. Okay. So I am not quite done. Obviously, I need to do like this tree and probably work on tying this thing together more. But I think this is probably a pretty good place to stop. So again, we are continuing through the next month doing some more comic stuff. So look at the website for that. I have Fridays as well. So I hope to see you guys back next Friday. I don't believe we're skipping weeks, so we're starting up again the very next week. So if you don't want to miss any of the classes, I forget who has Monday, but the very next class is going to be Monday. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for staying a little bit late, everybody.
Problem.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Naylene.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.